You asked and I delivered. So today I am making my famous banana pudding and I am providing y'all the instructions. So if you want to know how to make this amazing dessert, please keep on watching. Now I am doubling this recipe, so you'll need 2 cups of milk. So I'm really using 4 cups. And then 6 eggs. And then I'm going to get a egg separator. This saves so much time. So if you can get one, I highly encourage you to purchase one. And then you'll need 2 bananas. I typically just use a half a banana, but I know y'all out there, y'all love bananas, so you can use 2. And then of course you need the vanilla wafers. This is what makes the banana pudding in my opinion. And then you'll need some vanilla extract. I like to use this vanilla that we got from Mexico. And you'll need some flour. And then a pinch of salt. And then a double boiler. This is going to be so important. If you don't have a double boiler, you can put 2 pans on top of each other. It works that way. And then some sugar. Now let's get started cooking this thing. So first I like to mix my dry ingredients. So I'm going to take a cup of sugar and pour it straight into the mixer. And then I'm going to take 1/3 cup of flour and throw it into there. Now remember, I'm doubling it, so I'm going to do that twice. So it's really 2/3 cups of sugar. 2 pinches of salt. I literally pinch the salt. I don't use the measuring thing. I literally just pinch the salt. So just do 2 of those. And then you just mix all those dry ingredients together. And while those dry ingredients are mixing in the mixer, I like to go ahead and get my carnation milk ready. Now, I typically buy 3 large cans of carnation milk because I am going to need 4 cups of milk. And with the 3 big cans, it typically leaves you with 1/2 a can left over, and I save that for the reserve. And you'll see a little bit later why I save that extra milk. All right, and once you get all that milk in there, you just mix that up, and we want to let that mix for a while just so all of those dry ingredients get into the milk successfully. And while everything is mixing together, you can go ahead and get your water started boiling in the bottom part of your double boiler. And remember, if you don't have a double boiler, you can just use 2 pans. So go ahead and just fill your bottom pan up first. And then after I get my water started to boil, I go ahead and separate my eggs. Now, what you're going to do is separate the yolk from the egg white. We're going to use the egg white to make our meringue, and then the yolk goes inside of the pudding mix. Now, on this particular egg, there were 2 yolks. I had never seen that before in my life. Comment down below if y'all have ever seen that. I was absolutely amazed. Did not know that twins were possible with chickens or hens. Now, if you don't have an amazing gadget like I do to help you separate the eggs, you can do this manually. You just have to make sure you crack the egg perfectly, and you just move the yolk from side to side within those shells until it successfully separates. All right, so now that you got all of those eggs separated, it's time to check your mixture. So I'm going to check it to make sure that there isn't any flour caked up at the bottom. We want to make sure everything is well mixed. It's going to make a huge difference when the mixture gets on top of the stove. And so right now I'm just pouring the mixture into the top part of my double boiler. And we're going to go ahead and set the mixture on top of the bottom part of the boiler. Now, you are going to let this sit on top of the stove for about 15 to 20 minutes. You are looking for a certain texture. So as I mix this throughout the video, I want y'all to pay attention to how the mixture is leaving the whisk to determine like how thick it is. All right, and while that is on the stove for the 10 and 15 minutes, we're going to go ahead and make the meringue. So what you're going to do is just throw all of those egg whites inside of your mixer, and we're going to go ahead and start letting that mix. You want to turn it really high and let it mix for a little bit before you actually put the sugar in. So now I'm about to add the sugar in, and you want to add the sugar in very gradually, just so it is all able to mix within that egg white mixture. And once you get all the sugar in, you're going to turn that mixer all the way up and just let it mix. Maybe it'll take 10 minutes. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes, but you'll see in a second what it should look like when you actually pull your mixer up. Okay, so while the mixture is on top of the stove and our meringue is mixing, I'm going to go ahead and get the bottom portion of my pudding ready. So I'm just going to lay all the vanilla wafers on the bottom, and I like to just make a solid base, just so whenever they dip into it and they get to the bottom, they definitely have some cookies on the bottom. But I do want to let you know, do not forget about your mixture. You have to consistently check on your mixture because we do not want that mixture to get thick. So definitely make sure you are stirring, but doing everything else. Okay, this is definitely a recipe where you have to learn how to multitask. And right here, you actually see how the meringue should be when you stop the mixer. That's how thick you want it, and that's when you know it's ready. All right, and you want to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 because our mix should be getting thick now. As you can see right here, you see how I'm whisking it. You want to make sure you get the bottom to make sure the flour isn't like caked down there at the bottom. Okay, so I wanted to get an actual spoon so y'all can see how it falls off. So you see there, right there, that's actually not thick enough. But then a couple minutes later, this was the consistency. Actually, it got too thick and I had to add the reserve of the milk that I had left over. That's why I say the milk on the reserve, because it always gets too thick and all you have to do is just add a little milk and that fixes it. But you see right here, that is the consistency that you want that mixture to be before you put it in the oven. Now, the last step before you put it in the oven is to add your vanilla extract. Now, the reason that you're doing this last, according to my mom, is because you don't want it to burn on top of the stove and you don't want your banana pudding to be brown. That's what she told me, so that's what I do. Now, y'all, I do apologize. I was making this for an actual party and I was running late, and I thought that I hit record while I was assembling the banana pudding, but I did not. So once I realized I wasn't, I had already had the meringue on top. But I do want to explain how you do the banana pudding. So basically, on top of that layer of vanilla wafers, you pour half of the pudding in there, spread it all over, and then you put another row of vanilla wafers, and then you put your banana. I did the whole banana on that first row, and then just repeat the process one more time, and then you put the meringue right on top of it. Now, if you want to do designs on the meringue, you just kind of hit it with your spoon and just let it fall. If you don't want to be all fancy, you could just rub it straight, it doesn't matter. But then you put it into the oven for 20 minutes. Basically, what you're trying to do is brown your meringue, so it's really to the liking of how brown you want your meringue. I like my meringue a little dark, and so I actually turned my broil on at one point to get it how dark I wanted it. And then you want to go ahead and decorate it once it comes out of the stove. And I really think the presentation of how your banana pudding looks really determines how good it is. Because if it's really pretty and decorated really nice, people want to dig into it, and it just makes the whole experience so much better. So take your time decorating the top of it. Now, because I was making this banana pudding for a Christmas party for my mom's job, I didn't actually taste this banana pudding, but my mama said it was really good. So if you follow the instructions, I think your banana pudding would be just as good as well. And then the finishing touches I like to do is just crush up the last bits of cookie and just pour it all on top Whew, it adds to presentation. Now, if you guys have any questions on any part of this recipe, let me know in the comment section and I will help you out. And if you actually make it, tag me on my social medias so I can see your masterpiece. But I do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank y'all so much. And in the meantime, in between time, as always, be obedient, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Ciao.
Doesn't matter if the snow is falling.